Nine times Tottenham Hotspur have conceded the first goal in matches. What is wrong with our defence at the moment, and what can Conte do about it? Anyway, after that dramatic entrance, welcome to THFC Till I Die, our post-mortem or autopsy, whichever way you want to look at it, on the Brentford game. And I'm joined today by the excellent and very, very popular Queen Ellie Hoiberg, the co-host today. How are you, Ellie? How was Christmas?
Really well. Christmas went really well. Didn't have to do any cooking, which was brilliant. I've done a lot of tidying up, but that's what our defence need to do. A bit of tidying up, isn't it, Philip? You know, they're a bit laxy-daisy at the moment, and I want to see some improvements, like dropping Eric Dyer.
Yeah. I think we're going to put an embargo on that guy's name, I think, because it's in other channels now. It's been causing a little bit of eruption over the last few days. So I think we'll have to, put Eric in the background for a while and hope he stays there,
Yeah.
And for this is our first broadcast since Christmas, and some exciting news. The channel is now sponsored by Nick Coupland, who we're very grateful to Nick for doing that. And also, you can now get your channel memberships. The banner will be going along on the bottom of the screen very shortly. And in the meantime, while you're waiting for that, if you would please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because we're on the march here. We've just passed 1,000 members, and we're heading for 2. And with your help, we'll do that. And there's some very unique content coming up in the next few weeks, which I hope you'll enjoy. Once Tottenham get back into action, winning action, we hope. And just to see, there's a few people in the chat. So, Ellie, do you want to read a few of those chats out there just to see who we've got?
So we've got the famous Elias Christian. Hi everyone.
Elias.
Hello, Elias. Welcome.
You're very welcome. Eric Dyer's greatest fan, I believe.
Yeah, that's true. We'll have to pick him up on that one. Xmas more like Eric Dyer's funeral. Correct. Correct. And then we got David Clark saying, hi from Leicester, a free man's day today. The missus has gone to Braintree to see her brother. Lol.
Man, David.
You're a man after our heart, David. And we got George Judio. Welcome. Hi, first time watching this channel. So interested to see the discussion. We won't disappoint you, George. Just to put it that way. Okay, and then any more? Right. So Mick Harmala. Good evening, Ellie and Philip. Good evening, Mick. Nice to see you in the chat. Lovely. Mia, lovely.
Mia.
Big up, guys. Lovely to see you both. Lovely
to
Mia.
Mia.
Carl Simpson. What a funny man this man is. Good afternoon, guys. Hope you are both well and had a nice Xmas. Big up everyone in the chat. Thank you, Carl. Thank you very much. Yeah. Harriet Kane. Nice one. I wonder
That's a good...
Hello, this is Harriet Kane, best centre forward for Lionesses. Correct.
Yeah.
So I'll be creating for you. David Clark. Great news about Beth England coming to Spurs ladies from Chelsea for £25,000. I know, it's fantastic news. Do you know what? We needed a striker because we lost the ELLY Brazil early doors to the cruciate knee ligament. So that's a bad injury. So I'm really glad we've got a replacement because we really need to bring in those goals.
You're the expert on ladies football, Ellie. Is that a big fee? Is that a big fee for ladies?
It's a fairly big fee, because I mean this is an established England player. She's been playing for a top class club in Chelsea, and I'm so glad to have her on board because we do a lot of good work up to the point where we need to strike it in. Apart from the Brighton game where we won 8-0. We've been struggling to put away a lot of the time, and the other teams have scored. So, we have to improve on that one. And they are working on it, just put it that way. Maybe we can hire Eric Dyer for our defence. You never know. Could be Eric.
No comment. No comment.
Right, we've got Mick Harmon, big up Carl Simpson. Thank you very much. Carl Simpson, don't call Elias famous. He is a right pain. We started with the job.
I tell you, starting early today.
I love it. Andrew Gregory, welcome. This is a chap who always messages me. He's lovely. Hi, guys, he says. Atravon Wembley 1. Atavertron Wembley 1. I hope I pronounced that right. Good afternoon, Philip and Ellie. Happy New Year to you both. What's laid bare is that despite last summer's window, The squad depth is threadbare for talent. Who comes in both at the back and up the front? True.
Yeah, that's very
This
true. I
is
mean,
what happens. Got a
the
lot of
noise
injuries at the moment.
aren't good at the moment. They're, are we going to see any expenditure in January? It's worrying. It's worrying.
Royalty in the house, Philip.
Oh,
Right, hello all. We're not worthy.
Mr. Harris, how are you?
Mr. David Harris in the house. Mick Harmaluk. Big up Irish Hotspur. Of course. Everybody's got to big up the Irish Hotspur. Right.
Oh, yes.
Mia, the Irish Hotspur. Hope you are behaving yourself. Lol.
No, it probably isn't.
Be a bad boy. Be a bad boy. It's always good. 250,000. Oh, right. So
right. That's a huge fee.
So 25,000. I was thinking, wow, that's a bit low, right? Because I read it was £250,000 package, but I don't know whether that was the actual transfer fee we paid or the whole package to get her.
Yeah,
you see,
that's
so
interesting.
I have to read up on that. I've been reading the story, but I read that it was a £250,000 whole package to buy her, because that's what they do in the ladies' game. They actually do it as a package. It's an WSL record signing fee.
Right. Okay. I just hope that doesn't.
Read that a bit better, because I read it, but I didn't read it properly. Yay! My sister and friend Beth England is joining my brother Harry Kane's team. I no longer play for Spurs as they were not winning trophies, so I only play for Lionesses.
They don't win trophies either.
There you go, Harriet.
Well, they do, I suppose. The Lionesses do.
You know, I'm a glory hunter as well. Carl Simpson, Elias knows I'm only joking.
Yeah,
He does. He does. Elias Krishan, why picking on me, Carl Simpson? Big up, David. Lovely to hear about the Spurs women's squad. Wishing them luck for the rest of the season. So do I. And I'll be at most of the matches. I'll say about 95% of the matches. The only ones I'm gonna miss, if I'm gonna miss any, is because Spurs are playing at home and I can't go to the women's game. That's the only reason. But they usually don't clash. That's one good thing. Right, THSC till I die. Big up, Dave, and everyone in the chat. Nice to see you.
Right. Just want to just go back on that. The women's signing there, 250 grand. I mean, that's a statement of intent. That's a statement of intent from Daniel Levy, who I presume is the overall guru of the women's team as well as the men's. Maybe we shouldn't be too despondent about what's going to happen in January. If he's going to break the transfer record for the women, he might do something for the men. We can only hope.
Yeah. Do you know what? I've got a little bit of an inside track in the women's Spurs ladies team. I'm going to have a meeting with a very distinguished lady. I won't mention her name, but it's going to be sometime soon. And I'll be bringing some hot gossip to the ladies' show. So obviously, I want to get into what the current news is and what's been happening, because of Christmas, I've not let it go, but I've sort of done family things. But I'm going to be catching up on a lot of the stuff and posting a lot on my actual YouTube and my Instagram and my Twitter page. So look out for that, guys and girls. Levy is looking where he lost his spare change, 250 grand. That's what I think. I think that's a whole package. That's what I read. It's not an actual transfer fee. I think it's the whole package to get her, if I'm correct, but I might be wrong. So Elias Krishan saying, okay, we lost that one. Carl Simpson at David, someone stole the secret second credit card that Spurs have not seen for years.
Yeah. To just say to shout out to Dermot, who's working in the background here. Dermot unfortunately contacted the dreaded COVID there last week. And there'll be a couple more days before he's able to join us back on the screen again. So big up, Dermot, and hope you get better soon.
Yes, I'll second that. Right, so we've got...
I think we'll go into the comments now. There's a few questions we've done in relation to what happened on Saturday. Well, not Saturday, on Monday. The lineup. Why no Hugo Lloris when he was back from the World Cup? That was quite a strange one. I can understand players not being back from the World Cup, like what you call him, like Romero. not coming back. Hugo was actually on the bench, and I really can't think of a reason for why he didn't play on Saturday and then on Monday. Not that Fraser Foster did anything particularly wrong, but was it just to give Fraser Foster a run out, or was it to give Hugo a bit more downtime before he resumes his between the sticks on Sunday?
Yeah. Do you know what I feel, Philip? I feel that he might have been hungover from all the euphoria of not winning the World Cup as well. Because when you think about it, he won it 4 years ago, and now he's on a downer because they lost the final. So maybe he was feeling a bit sorry for himself, and he wasn't in the right frame of mind to play. Because I know Hugo, he seems to be a very sensitive man, and he wears his heart on his sleeve, as you saw when he had a go at Sonny that time. That was like a flare up, wasn't it? Now, I think he's quite a passionate man, and I think maybe he had the blues, and he just wanted to have a few more days rest. That's the only thing I can see in it anyway.
I wonder, is there anything to do with the fact that 4 years ago, when he did win the World Cup, he got done for drunken driving? Do you remember that? He had a glass of wine too many on the way home from something in London. So, anyway, listen, he's back. I mean, I have to compliment him. Hugo Lloris had an excellent World Cup. And we can only hope that he comes back and brings that form back to the squad whenever he starts playing again, because he's still our number one, regardless of what people think of him. And let's face it, Argentina wouldn't have needed extra time, only for him on the final.
Very
when he
true.
said chop Messi at the end, So I presume it's only a temporary blitz that we're going to get Hugo back. Now, when we're going to get Romero back, that may be another one. Like, I'm sure he must be back in the country by now, but is he in the frame of mind and fit enough to play against Villa on Sunday? Because I think those Argentinian boys, they partied like there's no tomorrow after that World Cup win. And I'd say now the first visit Cuti Romero would need to be done with maybe get him breathalyzed when he came back into the ground, But hope we need him back, though, because as you'll see further on, our defence badly needs him.
Yeah. I'll just add to that, Phil. I think he's probably had a lot of Argentinian beef passed his way, and he's probably a little bit overwrought with Argentinian beef inside him.
Exactly. I'm just saying that anybody has any comments on Hugo not coming to the game, let us know in the chat there what you think. Should he walk straight back into the team on Sunday, or should Fraser Foster be given another game?
Yeah, that's a big question, isn't it? Yeah.
Because that was his debut in the league. He's been with us 6 months, and that was his debut, so.
Yeah, because we lost the first game he played in against Nottingham Forest 2-0.
That's right.
I predicted the score correctly, 2-2. So I'm patting myself on the back. That's the fourth prediction I've predicted correctly for Spurs. Yeah. So I think he is worth giving him another go, because he didn't do much wrong, and the goals were conceded through defensive errors, really. It wasn't really his fault as such.
No, that's true.
Could have maybe done a little bit better on the first goal, maybe.
Yeah, I think he was wrong-footed a wee bit,
it caught him on the hop, didn't it?
Yeah. I see Giorgio was saying there, Foster has to be given the game to be primed. This was the best opportunity after Hugo's disappointment in the World Cup. True. And then Harriet Kane again. This is what I was saying before. Hugo drank a bit too much after the silver medal win. I don't know about that, but possibly he did. Drowning his sorrows this time rather than celebrating. And Harriet again is coming up and saying that her brother told him that Hugo drank too much. We shall never know, because I think what we'll never know. We'll never be told. And. Yeah, so I think that's Hugo dealt with, I think, but the performance on Monday there, I mean, we've become past masters at not turning up in the first half in matches.
Oh, no.
And in fact, this game stretched even as far as about the 65th minute before we turned up. Normally we would come out in the second half with a bit of fight and start from the 46th minute onwards, but all we got in that half was probably the most ridiculous schoolboy error you'll ever see from a Premiership footballer. When Eric Dyer tried to volley the ball back into the stand or wherever he was trying to put it, gave away the corner, and they scored. Like the minute that corner was conceded, you just know what's going to happen next, and it did. You just knew what was going to happen, But the fact that we've fallen behind, and the fact in those 9 matches, we've won 3, lost 4, and drawn 2 of those games that we've lost or we've fallen behind. So we do have a record of, in 5 of those matches, we've at least salvaged something out of the disaster. But we can't keep doing this. I mean, we go behind against Villa on Sunday. Yeah. That will be double figures.
Yeah.
10 games on the trot.
I mean,
I can imagine the relief. The stadium will lift off on Sunday if we actually score the first goal, because it hasn't happened for so long. So what do you reckon, Ellie? What do you reckon is the problem? Is it just a fluky thing that happens now and again?
I don't know. Do you know what? It's happening too often. So is this the Spurs strategy to play rubbish in the first half and then play like gods in the second half? Because that's what seems to be happening. They're like, it's too chalk and cheese. The first half, you look like a League One team. If I'm giving them credit for League One, even League One players play better than that, right?
Yeah.
And then the second half, we play like a proper top Premiership club. And we're putting in crosses and we're fighting for every ball. And we're doing everything right in my book to make to recover the score. Like against Bournemouth, I remember we were 2-0 down and we came back and won 3-2. And I really did think we were going to get that winning goal, but it didn't materialise. But I just put it, maybe it's a strategy, or maybe it's just that they're lazy in the first half and they don't want to put in the effort and reserve their energies for the second half. But it's happening too often.
It's mystifying. But the problem is other teams know what we're like at the start of matches now. Yeah. Other teams know what to expect, and they come out all guns blazing against us. And we're not reacting to it. So I think something's got to change. I mean, I'd like to, pardon me, I'm dealing with the after effects of the flu as well. We will have to come out on Sunday against Villa. And I think now Villa didn't play too badly against Liverpool on Monday night there. And they're going to be a difficult squad under Unai Emery. Now, we should be wanting to beat him for his own Arsenal connections alone. Right. But we're going to have to be on our mettle on Sunday, and we need to go after them and get the first goal. And if we do that, I think the mindset of the team might just change, because they're so used to coming from losing positions now. To actually be in a winning position might G them up a bit, and maybe we could be 2 or 3-0 up before Villa even get going, Let's hope. Just another thing too, lads. We now have super chats. So if you want to jump the queue and get your comments dealt with by myself and Ellie, just click on the super chat line there, and you're helping to grow the channel. And all money that those super chats raise goes to a very good home. It's buying equipment and keeping us at the cutting edge of technology. So let me see now. What else have we got? I don't mind so much about conceding good goals, but Spurs concede Sunday morning Park's goals. I mean, that goal on Monday was an insult to Sunday morning Park football. They wouldn't even identify with that.
That was the slice of all slices, wasn't it, by Eric Dyer? I mean, what was he thinking? He's a bit of a lummox sometimes, and like he won't get his body into gear to actually control the ball, and he's just sliced it. And you knew what was coming after that, like you said, Bill.
Yeah, I know. It was just, it was, and the fact that he had Matt Doherty beside him, he could have done. No, anyway, listen, it's done now.
Your hand over your eyes when they took the corner. I went like that because I knew it was coming.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the most Spursy thing that could have happened. It really was. It was terrible. But anyway,
gets mentioned again, the Spursy word.
Now, Conte's comment suggests that's not the case. I presume that's to do with is that the mentality of the.
He's being diplomatic, isn't he?
Yeah, he is a bit. Yeah. It's a bit like his comment, we don't need a centre half. I mean, I had to scratch my head when I heard that one because, there's something wrong with it. We do need a centre half. We might need 2 of them. But anyway, we'll. Anyway, FSTSN column is saying, are you worried that Conte will be wondering if Spurs is the right place for him? Silly errors and mistakes costing us points. True. He says he's happy at the club. He says he's no qualms with the board or whatever. Whether that stays the same in a month's time, we shall see. But it'll be just nice to get a transfer or 2 into the ground in the next couple of days or next few days, early doors in the transfer window, rather than wait until the 10:30 on the last night. And we'll all be sitting there with our nerves jangling, our fingernails cut down to the bone, waiting for a transfer. And if we don't improve the squad, then I think Conte's relationship with the board will deteriorate, and we won't have him in July. That's just the way I look at it. Hoping he does stay, but he's the best manager we can have. And if Levy can't see that one, Levy does not deserve to run a corner shop, never mind a football club.
I've got a different angle on that, Phil, if you don't mind, right?
No,
but
go on, yeah.
I just feel that Conte feels that he's got a family here, because I saw his interview, and I've harped on about this before, but I'll say it again. I saw that interview where he gave, I don't know if it was with Sky Sports, I can't remember, but it was a lady interviewer, and he basically said he feels very at home. It's a project. We have to be patient. You can't build Rome in a day, he was basically saying. You know, there's lots of faults at the club. He was trying to change the ethos and the ethics of the club in terms of everything to do with not just sustainability, having a team that we can be proud of on the pitch. Because he knows, he's not stupid, he knows we've got faults. He knows that they're players that are not at his level to get him where he wants to go. You know, because he knows that he's going to get to there, and he's probably about here, halfway there. So he's got another half to build. Yeah. So once he gets that roof on, then Spurs will go flying. Because Conte, he is a winner. He knows how to win, this man. And he's proven at every club. Whether he can prove it at our club, it depends on a lot of other factors. But I think he's making the right noises in the right places. So I personally believe he's here for the long haul. That's what I think. I just think he's stalling on the contract because he's got other things on his mind. He wants to focus on different things to get the club where he wants it to be.
Certainly hope so. But the thing about it is, on the flip side of that, Ellie, and I take your point, absolutely perfect point. The fact that he hasn't or won't sign his new contract means he's keeping his options very much open, that he will be the boss of what happens in July. And that's the bit that worries me. You know, I'd like to see him at the end of January, if we do make the signings he wants, committing himself. Will he do that? I doubt it.
But the club have got the cards in their corner because they've got the contract ready for him to sign. So they're holding the keys. So really, Conte wants to be holding the keys, doesn't he, to that contract?
They still need his signature, though. You know, until he signs that document, he holds the aces.
I just think he will sign it. I personally think he will sign it because I think he feels that this is the club that he wants to marry. He wants us to be his wife. He's had plenty of bridesmaids. He wants to settle down. He's 53 years old, going on 54. So really, realistically, he's probably only got about 10 more years at the top flight. Realistically, not many managers who go beyond 65, do they? They're not really. Yeah.
Oh, listen. I'm just being not devil's advocate here. I want him to stay so badly. I think really, and it's really up to Daniel Levy to make sure that happens. And there's only one man's going to be blamed if Conte walks, and we know who that is. You know, but that doesn't seem to fizz him. He got rid of how many managers in the past? You know, is we on our 11th or 12th manager? I forget the number. You lose count of them. You know, and now that he's actually got one that's a proven winner and won things in the past, he should be throwing anything at him that he wants, anything.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Hopefully, hopefully. So, anyway, let's see any more comments there that we can have a look at.
David Clark saying, how can a so-called tough coach allow his side to start slow all season? It just doesn't make sense to me.
It's a mystery, isn't it? Really, it's a mystery. It has to be the player's attitude when they go out on the pitch. There's nothing much more the manager can do. Okay, you can bawl and shout at them from the touchline.
I've got an answer to that because I've played football as well. I've been a footballer, and sometimes coaches, what they do, they say to you, try to keep the game safe in the first half. Try your best not to concede. All right. If you do concede, try and recover. And normally you try and recover in the first half to get yourself to half time. If you're 1-0 down, get it to at least 1-1. And if you score just before half time, statistically, it's fantastic when you go in to the dressing room. I know where I've scored a fantastic equaliser, right? And I've gone in on the high, and everybody's praising me, patting me on my back, and I'm praising them for making the goal in the first place. So I can see there's. I think it might be. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it's quite a strategy because it's happening too often for it to be a coincidence that we're starting slow. You know, if it was once or twice, Philip, you'd give it a go. You know, you'd think, oh, but it's like I think 13, 14 games easily that we've started that so badly.
We haven't started on the foot in any match really this season that I can remember.
The Fulham game that I saw,
possibly,
game where we were better in that Fulham game in the first half. Yeah.
Like even the Leicester game that we were over at, like Leicester took a lead after 5 minutes, and for the first half, they were the better team.
Yeah, they were.
And it's really only when we rejigged things at half time that we got the better of them and scored 4 goals in the second half, you know. So it can be done. It can be done, but let's see now. Now, let's see. Tias, this is Dermot. Guys, who do we need in January to get us over? And do you think that some outlets twist Conte's words? Is the Pope a Catholic? Of course they do. I mean, let's face it. If you some of the comments you read, you really have to read between the lines and between the lines again to get what's really been said, because they twist them so much. I mean, journalists are past masters of that. It must be very hard for them to I'd say some of them must lie crooked in their bed at night, because I mean, some of the stuff they twist and turn about, it's just ridiculous. And like I saw one this morning that wasn't anything about Conte or anything, but it said Spurs could sign a player. And I replied, yeah, we could sign Lionel Messi. Doesn't mean we're going to. But someone reading that, oh yeah, we're going to sign such and such. Whereas it's picked a name out of the hat and say, yeah, they could sign him. Of course we could. So could 91 other clubs. So, you know, all I want is a bit of honesty from these guys. And let's see that when Conte says black is white, that's the way it's put across, not white is black. You know, so that's the way. Now, who do we get in January? This Paulo fella, this boy from Atletico, is supposed to be room with the fullback. And I'd take Bastoni or Gvardiol as well. Like, I'm not being greedy. I'd take both of them if they want to come, you know. But we do need a centre back. That's for sure.
One thing is sure, Conte likes players ready. He doesn't really play on youth, does he? He doesn't really keep That's his strategy.
No, and that's the problem. It's going to get us a bad reputation for youth players. It's not very good for the academy boys coming through when they see a manager who doesn't really fancy them, you know.
Well,
I saw this morning.
I wouldn't like it.
Harvey White has been rumoured of being moved on now. You know, and Harvey White has always been a good prospect, I think, you know.
He's got a fantastic left peg. You know, I've seen him play many times live. Distribute the ball very well, which we need in our team, because there's somebody who can put their foot on the ball and peg it onto your head. He's very good at crossing. He's a bit like Perisic in a way, but he's obviously hasn't got the experience, you know, and maybe he needs to bulk up a bit as well, because he's a bit on the light side, you know. But other than that, his attributes, his footballing attributes are fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. And the Wembley one there. Remember, folks, the only reason we spent early and often last summer was because Levy is terrified of Conte walking. No other reason. Levy has not changed his spots. It will be back to normal now on. But then again, if he was scared of him walking last summer, he should still be scared of him walking this January. So he should be able to put his hand in his pocket the way he did before. We'll see. We'll have to hope and see.
Yeah.
Do you think Kane will stick around much longer? Spurs don't start mounting trophies. Is he loyal that trophies don't matter to him, or is he like everyone else? And Harry Kane has been extraordinarily loyal to Tottenham.
Oh yeah.
Really, when you look at it, I mean, he's a model footballer. He's a model, and the crap he's taken now from other teams' supporters, which we'll deal with in the question that's coming up shortly. But I'd like to think he will stay around. Now, he's going to stay around. He's going to beat Jimmy Greaves' record. He's only 4 away from it now, I think.
Yeah.
And that'll be a bittersweet moment for an awful lot of Spurs fans. Because Jimmy Greaves, to the older version of Spurs fans like myself, was an absolute legend, an idol. was never beaten, never bettered, and probably thought we never would be. And now we've got a guy coming along at 29 years of age, about to beat Jimmy's record. I hope the club makes something big of that when it happens, because it's going to be a huge moment in the club's history when Harry Kane beats a record that none of us thought would ever be beaten.
I got into a big Barney, Philip, with a Chelsea fan. He's my future son-in-law's father. I won't mention his name, but he's a big Chelsea fan. And he said, Harry Kane, he's a fantastic striker, but he's no Peter Osgood. So I said, what do you mean by that? And I said, well, I said to him, well, first of all, Harry Kane has scored much more goals than Peter Osgood. And then he said to me, well, he hasn't scored them in important times. So I just said to him, what do you call an important time? He goes, in finals, he hasn't turned up. Well, I said, the Champions League final, he wasn't even fit, right? And then the other finals, he did turn up, but some other players didn't turn up. If you turn up and the other players don't turn up, what are you going to do? So I was arguing, right? And I got my point across in the end, because Harry Kane is fantastic. There's no doubt in my mind that he's the best striker in the league. I would even put him in front of Haaland, whatever his name is, because that guy is 6'5". He's going to score a lot of goals, isn't he? He's playing for the best team in the land, Manchester City. Do you think if Harry Kane wasn't in that team, he would score just as many? Of course he would. Anybody knows that. And if they doubt that, then you look at Harry Kane's record. It speaks for itself.
Yeah. Well, I'm delighted to hear that your future son-in-law's father actually knows who Peter Osgood is, because I remember asking the Chelsea fans soon after Abramovich took over, what do you think of Peter Osgood? And he looked at me, who? So Peter Osgood is no Harry Kane. That's the way I would put it, not the other way around.
No way. I know. I put him in his place. Don't you worry, Philip. I can banter.
I'm sure you did. I'm sure he still kept picking the thorns out of the wound.
He had a nervous twitch at the end of it.
I bet. Let's say this, and this is a good one now. On your comment about wanting to marry Spurs, just looking across to see Juve will be looking for a manager, and Conte is top of the list. Juve are in serious financial trouble at the moment, as we know from the allegedly Paratici situation when he was with them. I think Juve will be relegated because of the financial irregularities, and there's no way Conte is going to go to a team in Serie B in Italy. He's going to want to manage a team that's at the top of its game, not on its uppers like Juve are at the moment. So, well, maybe 3 years ago, possibly, but not now.
Yeah. I've sparked something about Peter Osgood there in the chat.
Yeah, he was a good player. Osgood. But I mean, he's did he ever captain England? No.
We had the best Osgood, Keith Osgood, if you remember him.
That's right.
Fantastic defender.
Yeah.
No
and Colin was saying, no. Colin was saying he's a United fan. Well, fair dues to you coming in, Colin, and being very reasonable with your comments. Normally, other teams' fans come in here and we have to show them where the exit door is most of the time. But you'd love to be number 9. Yeah, I bet you would. His goal-keeping record. But then again, look, you've got Marcus Rashford, so don't get greedy. Don't be greedy. Leave Kane to us.
Yeah, mitts off.
Yeah. Now the next, but this we made brief reference to this earlier. The Brentford treatment the treatment of Harry. Is this what he can expect at every every away game? Like, it's a pity his first game back wasn't at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Then we would have shown him the love that he deserves. So what do you reckon, Ellie? Is he in for a rough ride when he goes to the likes of Emirates Stadium or Stamford Bridge or Anfield?
Yeah, but I've already got it from the son-in-law's father. You know what I mean? He's already jibing me at a Christmas do as well. So, no, I think he will do. And the bigger the club, I think it'll be 50-50 because there's fans who are very good, especially Liverpool. I think Liverpool fans are very fair, They won't.
They don't like Harry Kane, though. They don't like Harry Kane.
No, they don't like Harry Kane, but they respect. I think they respect his goal-scoring attributes. And he's always done quite well against them up at their ground. So I think they'll give him due respect. There's going to be fans that are going to slander him regardless. of what he did at the World Cup. Look, he missed the penalty. We wouldn't have even been. We just would have been on level terms. We wouldn't have been winning the game. So it would have gone to penalties if that remained the same. So people got to remember that. And as for the pressure bit, that he can't handle pressure, he can handle pressure. It's just sometimes the ball will go over the net. That's what happens in football. Anyone can miss a penalty. Messi missed one, like Dermot always mentions in the World Cup against Yugoslavia. So the best of them can miss them. But I feel the fans will be 50-50, Phil. That's what I think.
Hopefully. I mean, I think I know that when Saka came to our place after missing the penalty in that European final, the Spurs fans gave him a really good reception, But I don't think he can expect the same when he goes to the Emirates, because I think they will. Let's face it, they're probably not just have as much class as the Spurs fans do. In fact, they've no class, so we know that, So I think it's going to be tough. But Harry's tough. I mean, the best way to answer those fans is to score a couple of goals at every ground he goes to, and that'll really put them in their place,
We've played them at the Emirates already.
We have, yeah.
Next season, you mean?
It's just in case we get a cup game against them or something,
Some fans' memories are short-fused, So they'll in the moment they'll go, "Oh, Harry Kane," they'll rabbit on about him, and then they'll forget. Thank God, and leave the man alone, because he's a fantastic striker. Just leave our Harry alone.
But I remember how times have changed. I remember, if that had happened, say now, going way back to 66 or 70 or sometime around that, say Bobby Charlton had missed a penalty, right? Or whatever. Bobby Charlton was a national hero then, and that would not have diminished it at all. But it just shows you maybe the negative influence social media has had on a lot of football fans, that they've become totally polarized with their own club, and it doesn't matter. Like, I saw people, England fans, hoping Harry Kane didn't play in the World Cup. I mean, that's not the stupidest Scott, really, So really Harry's a big man. Harry's got a big, broad shoulders. He's so well focused on himself that he will get there, and I expect him to beat the Jimmy Greaves record by the end of January, and then that'll be huge celebrations for him, and that'll move him on to scoring lots of more goals the rest of the season at Tottenham and nowhere else.
And that Brentford game, Philip, that was testament to what his character's like. So he had a pretty poor first half, right? We weren't in the game anyway. We weren't creating, and he was trying his best, right? And then the second half, he stepped it up, and he got us back into the match, and he hit
and could have won it. And could have won it.
Could have won it for us, But that's how.
That's how. One thing I thought was absolutely brilliant. It should be mentioned as well, is the two crosses that Clement Longley put in for both those headers.
Wow,
they were absolutely on the money. Where'd that come from?
I know. Do you know what? He did a really good one to, was it in the Champions League against Marseille? He headed it, actually. Headed it in. That was Perisic's cross. But he did another one. He did another good cross. I think it was in the Champions League versus Frankfurt, I think. But we didn't actually score from it. But it's fantastic cross. He's got that in his locker. Yeah,
very good. So right, we've got the next question there, Dermo. Now, this is one of my absolute bugbears about football. Now, I'm sure Brentford did nothing illegal on Saturday, but I'm sure Thomas Frank went to the groundsman and says, "Cut that grass leave it at the maximum minimum or the maximum legitimate length." To stop Tottenham's passing game. I mean, that was it was like a rugby pitch playing on it. You could see the close-ups of clumps of grass here and there. They share their ground with London Irish rugby team, Brentford. And you can be sure that any team coming there this season that plays the ball on the deck is going to have trouble like we did on Saturday. I mean, I'm not blaming Brentford. I'm not saying it's like they were within the rules of the law what they did. Maybe not within the spirit of the law, but let's face it. They'll get payback time when they come to an actually decent pitch at our place soon, because this was like watching again sort of a pitch from the first or second division. It just was not good enough, and where they've been the last 4 or 5 weeks, there's been no soccer matches played on them. Suddenly they come up with this paddy field of a pitch. I expect they might enjoy playing football on that, but we didn't.
Didn't look like they put the grass seeds in, did it? Phil.
I think they put too many grass seeds in it.
They just mowed it all, and it looked quite bare. It looks a bit orangey in patches.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, see, rugby would be very hard on a pitch like that, especially during the winter weather that we've after having, you know. And Carl says they left that pitch like that on purpose so we couldn't get it down and play. Yeah, absolutely,
that's
Carl.
true. Very true.
Exactly. One can probably play cricket on that pitch. Well, I'll tell you, it's nearly as bad as the pitch I saw in Pakistan when England were playing. I mean, it was even worse. I mean, I don't know how they play cricket on it, but
I know it's the same for both teams, right? But they know Spurs are a better team all round than them, right? They tend to bomb it down the wing, don't they? And they hit their strikers, and then they do like a Mark Hughes sort of thing: hold up the ball, pass it to the wing, cross it, and create havoc. They're more of a havoc team, Brentford. They create havoc. They put bodies on the line as well. You know, they're not a full footballing side, you know, in the true sense.
They're not shy of having to go at the referee as well and trying to stir up situations as well, you know.
Yeah,
it was quite nasty at times there, you know.
No.
And I think a lot. I'm going to move down to one of Elias's comment here. He says, "Godfather, you were telling that to a Pakistani, so be careful." No, the pitch was all. I mean, I don't watch a lot of cricket, but I mean, there was 5-day test matches that were over in 2.5 days because the pitch was absolutely so bad. The batsmen couldn't stay in, you know. Anyway, let's see now. What do you want the club to do in the January transfer window? Ellie, you can take this one.
Right. What I want to see our positions filled where we're weak, like everybody else would want. You know that the right wing back and the centre back, we really need 2 centre backs because Eric Dyer can then be dropped down to wherever, maybe the under 23s, he can play with them, right? So what I want to see is that, and I'd really love a central midfielder in the mould of Modric, Dembele, Hoddle, someone who can put their foot on the ball and actually create a pass, do a killer pass through, you know, because it makes more goals. It makes it more entertaining for the fans to watch. The people I've heard say we don't need a scam. I think we do, because we need. Spurs are traditionally an entertaining team to watch. We're there. We might have not have won a trophy in 14 years, but we bloody well entertained, especially under Poch. We were fabulous under Poch. We need somebody like that. I'm crying out for it. I'm going to the matches and I'm thinking Harry Kane has to drop to do the creativity bit, you know. So come on, get your act together, Spurs, and do it. Bring those players in.
Our best striker is also our best midfield creator.
Yes.
And that really shouldn't be the way, should it?
Shouldn't be. He should be striking. You know, I know he's like a true number 10 now because he's slowed down a bit as well in his pace, but he's got the brain. He's like a Sheringham and a Shearer, isn't he? He's a Sheringham and Shearer all rolled it up into one, Harry Kane. But he's even better than Shearer because he can play better than Shearer, do you know? So, come on, get your act together and give Harry a rest.
Well, as Dermot says here, if the Don and Concha bring in a CB and a right wing back, would you be happy with that, or do we need now foot players? I mean, okay, if we got one good centre back, I know we'd like 2, but if we got one good centre back, if we got a decent right wing back and a James Maddison's type player in central midfield, I think that would be way more than what we were expecting at the moment.
As they say in London, Tucker.
Exactly. Whether we're going to get, like, the thing about it, like, there's been an awful lot of negativity going on in the last few days about the transfer window, and we're still 3 days away from it opening. So this is what I can't really understand. I mean, things can change rapidly come the 1st of January. I know Leeds or Liverpool have signed this Gakpo fella from PSV, and I think it's more the fact that they've signed someone than the player they've signed is causing the angst. We didn't need a player like him. You know, to be honest with you, I think he's going to be another Victor Soldado or Victor Janssen, to be honest with you. But what we do need is the commitment and the intent shown early to bring in the players that we need. And that's where the anxiety is coming in, I think, you know.
Yeah, you've mentioned Roberto Soldado there. I was watching him with my nephew. We got to the ground late, and it was in the European game, and he'd already scored 2 goals, and I missed them. He didn't score many after that.
Oh God!
I was really
Yes,
shocked. They said Soldado scored 2 goals. I couldn't believe it.
they are.
He
They
was
are.
actually popular, you know. He was actually good on the ball. He just couldn't finish in
He just
England
did.
anyway. Does it
He
in
just
other
couldn't find the goalposts. You know.
No, he lost his bearing in Tottenham, didn't he? He
He did.
couldn't find the goal.
He should have bought. He should have borrowed Christian Gross's railway ticket.
We've had a few players like that. Sergei Rebrov is another one.
Yeah, and Helga Postiga as well, back in the early
Oh
20s.
my
You know,
God,
Hoddle was
he's
in
the
charge.
worst.
So, and we've had a few, all right, yeah.
We've had a few, yeah. We've done
Then
a
again,
few
we've had a few good
ones.
ones like Pavlyuchenko, he was good. I liked him.
Yeah, Pavlyuchenko was decent.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
was.
especially in
Scored some
European
great
games.
goals in the Champions League, so, you know.
Yeah. He stepped
Yeah.
up, didn't he? Yeah.
But they are. This tournament against are the fans too negative before the window opens? Well, yeah, they are. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't mind if they're negative come the 30th of January and we haven't signed anybody. They've a reason to be negative then. But they've been negative about something now that hasn't even started yet. So, you know, and we don't know what's going on in the background. We really do not know what's going on in the background. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, we have to wait and see. Watch this space. We'll give you all the breaking news anyway, won't we? At THF.
There'll be a daily bulletins about what's going on or not going on in the transfer window. So if we start giving you knitting recipes and cooking demonstrations, you'll know there's nothing happening. So let's see. One by centre back, Lucas replacement and Emerson replacement, the minimum in January. Well, yeah, that's okay. Poor Lucas seems to be in a bad way with his injury. He can't seem to get back into the run of things at all, you know. Emerson, Matt Doherty was playing like a man possessed in the friendlies. And then he comes on Saturday or Monday and goes back to his old resorts to type again. So, you know, it's kind of 1 step forward, 2 steps back with him, I think. But we'll see how he gets on, you know.
Yeah.
David Clark, Nielsen's cup-winning goal against Leicester in that League Cup final with 10 men, when just the late great Justin Edinburgh got sent off in that.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Justin Edinburgh. And the ladies' game play at Brisbane Road. If you don't know, everybody, we play our home games, but we're going to play Manchester United in February on the 12th of February, Sunday, the 12th of February at White Hart Lane. So that's going to be a fantastic game. So look out for that one. Yeah.
And this is a question that's come up and it's causing a lot of anxiety, really. The fact that Yves Bissouma saw him play for Brighton against us last season and he destroyed us nearly on his own. And now he's come down to play for Spurs and he's not doing the business. Now, is it because he's not been played in the right position? Is it a form thing? Is he not getting on with Conte? I mean, he's certainly not the player he was when he was at Brighton. What do you reckon on that one, Ellie?
I think it's a confidence thing for him because I remember the first game I saw him play from the start was the West Ham game, right? And he lost his way and he seems to be quite a thoughtful boy, you know, when I've seen him being interviewed. He's very deep, right? And I think he wears his heart on his sleeve as well. I think he's gone into the team. He's seen Hodgeberg and, as my husband calls him, Hodgeberg and Bentancur thrive. He's seen them soar, both of them. They've stepped up and he's thinking, what do I have to do to impress the boss? And I think he's trying a bit too hard sometimes. And I think sometimes he has to relax, get on that pitch, do your business, do what we know you can do, Bissouma, because we know you're a fabulous player. And I just feel that he's got something more in his locker, definitely. We know that. We know that he's got more to show. He just hasn't shown it. Not all the time, because sometimes he has done very well. When he came on against Leicester in particular, he done very well. But there's not been enough of that. So we need to see more of what he did against Leicester and from the start of the matches as well. Yeah.
Mind you, he's got a hard act to get in ahead of our midfield, our settled midfield too, if you like, of Bentancur and Højbjerg.
I know.
Because I think most of us would be more comfortable with Bentancur in there. Like, we were crying out for Bentancur on Monday there. We really were. and hopefully that he's back fit and raring to go on Sunday. But and I also heard too that Bissouma's tactically wasn't really getting what Conte was trying to tell him to do. And whether that's the truth or not, I don't know. But
it could be the truth, but it could be a rumour. You never know. You never know what's going on behind the scenes. But hopefully he'll perk up, because we know, Phil, that he's a fabulous player.
Yeah.
And we've got more to see from him. Yeah,
Absolutely.
he's got his chance now that Benny's out, you know. He's got a chance to impress.
He didn't do he didn't play that well on Monday there.
No,
I'm afraid he was a bit anonymous, you know. And like as George says, Bissouma has been the most disappointing thing about the season for me so far. Well, I think that and the fact that we haven't been performing like we can is another disappointment. But then again, one player being out of form and not doing what he's supposed to be doing maybe is a contributing factor to the whole team not doing what we hope they'd be doing, scoring lots of goals, not falling behind all the time, and giving us a bit of the exciting Tottenham football that we're used to. So hopefully that's coming in the second half of the season, you know?
Yeah.
There you are, Ellie. You can deal with this one.
Ellie, that game will be a strange record because it would be the first time a country scores a hat-trick at a club stadium scoring a hat-trick against Man United. Yeah. Do you know, he's obviously talking about the women's game here.
Women's game, yeah.
So I'm so excited because I've got 6 tickets. All my family are coming, and I'll have the pass to the lounge where I can mingle with the players and the ex-legends, which I like. I like that, but I want to see what's happening on the pitch, because what I can see in the background, all the perks that I get, what I want to see is those girls going out on the pitch and playing how they can, you know, because I haven't seen it so far this season. I've seen little snippets, but I know they can perform better. So even the ladies' game, we've not got the results that we deserve sometimes. And now we've got this new striker coming in, Beth England. I'm really excited because we're going to finish a lot of the good work that we've been doing, you know, because that's what it is. If you could be the most fantastic team, right, but if you're not scoring and you're not putting away the end products, then you lose usually, or you draw, you know.
Yeah. Now, this is the question you've been waiting for, Ellie.
This is about
over to you, dear.
PEH, otherwise known as the King of White Hart Lane. Our get out of jail player again. How many more times will the Dane rescue us? Well, I hope he rescues us and he actually gets some winning goals as well, like he did against Marseille. And I'm telling you, whenever he scores, I feel proud of him. But even if he doesn't score, he contributes enough to show me that he's worthy of a place at our famous club. Because that guy, he epitomizes everything good about the game. Top professional, works hard, doesn't do all the fancy stuff that other players do, but he gets the job done. And I like him a lot. I mean, I love him a lot because he's the type of player that I would have wanted to play with. Yeah, I would have loved him by my side because I was creative midfielder. See, Hotspur is a chameleon. He can step into the creative role as well. You know, he's played some magic passes, and I think people should watch his show reel because those magic passes are in there. I could be his PR lady, just put it that way, right?
Is your husband listening to all this, Ellie? Is he?
You know what I mean? Like, I don't fancy him as a man. I don't fancy, but I love him as a player because I just think he depicts everything like what Bill Nicholson would love as well in a player.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, he gets. You know what? He's the nearest thing to Dave Mackay. He's the nearest thing to Dave Mackay and Graham Roberts that we've had in years.
Definitely. And that's why I love him so much, because he reminds me of players of the past. And he also reminds me a bit like Steve Perryman, because his work ethic is like a Trojan. Steve Perryman didn't get all the plaudits that he should have got, right? Yeah. Everybody admired him, no doubt, right? They said he's our captain, whatever, you know, they loved him, right? But he didn't get all the footballing plaudits he should. And I remember he said that he only got picked for England once, and he was made a scapegoat in the training section. So getting back to Hotspur though, I think Hotspur, I just love him because he's everything Spurs should be, you know.
Yeah,
And if all
yeah.
the players played like him, we wouldn't have a problem in the first half. You know, I know he's had some shitty games because he has. He's had about 3 or 4 bad ones this season. But when he's had the bad one, at least we haven't lost. Or sometimes, well, we've lost against Man United. I remember that game. He played very poorly. I hold my hand on my heart. He did, right?
Well,
But
they all did.
Matt,
But you know, I think we should thank him too as well for the goal that he scored in the 95th minute in Marseille. Kept us
yes,
away from some of the really nasty draws in the
I
round of
know.
16 in the Champions League. So he's done so
Yeah,
much. But that guy, he was barely able to walk 2 minutes before he scored that goal. Next thing, there he is charging up the pitch alongside Harry Kane. Brilliant.
I
Absolutely
know.
brilliant. I mean,
He,
and as David Clark passed a comment there, he says, Højbjerg is the Viking. I will have nothing said against him. Some Spurs fans are clueless that this guy's worth the Spurs. That's true. He's quite a divisive player with a lot of fans. I think we should be wishing we had more of them, not just one of them, because I think he is an absolute rock that our team is building on.
I love him. I just love him. I think he's the best thing. You know, for our midfield, you need players like that. You can't have all creative players. You need players who are going to dig in, who's going to battle for you. You need players who are going to fight for every ball, you know. And when you have lost the ball, he'll fight for it again. He's not one of these players who loses it and then thinks, oh, I can't win it back. He'll go for it again. You watch him off the ball. He's fabulous with his communication, which is very important in a team.
I think now we're coming down towards the end of the broadcast now, lads. And again, hit that like button. Big on the algorithms. We need as many likes as possible. Subscribe to the channel and also take out your memberships. You see the details going below on the bottom there. And it's just a general number. We're not going to go through the individual players because I don't think a lot of them deserve that much of a discussion. But the overall performance ratings and how do we line up against Villa on Sunday? So out of 10, Ellie, what would you give the performance against Brentford?
I'll give it a solid 7. Because if we had a really good first half, I would have said it would have been an 8 or a 9 because we really played well in that second half. We absolutely mullered Brentford. They didn't really get a look in apart from, a few attacks, but we were controlling the game in that second half. We had control of the ball. And also Harry Kane stepped up. And I like the way Longley played as well. I was very impressed with him.
His crossing as well. His crossing was brilliant, you know. I wouldn't give him a 7. I'd give him about a 5.5 or 6 maybe because, as I said, if that had been played against Liverpool, Man City, United or Newcastle, there would have been no comeback in the second half. We would have been so far out of sight at half time that we could have gone home. So that cannot happen again. And Villa are no jokers under this Unai Emery guy. And we're going to have to be at our game on Sunday to play that. Now, whether the one player that worries me intensely at the moment, and it has done for some time, is the great Heung-min Son. I'm afraid Sonny, I think it needs to be done what happened against Leicester. I think he needs to be put on the bench. Now, the only thing is we don't have Richarlison to come in for him now because of an injury. Sonny really looks shot of confidence at the moment. He's not the Sonny we all love. And he's trying things. He's trying too hard, and it's not coming off for him. Now, and it hurts me to say that because, I mean, Sonny and Kane together, they're the best thing since Morecambe and Wise, you know. Anyone doesn't know who Morecambe and Wise are, look them up. But
I'm old enough.
You know who they are anyway. So like Sonny, to me, I think he possibly needs another spell on the bench. But then again, we've no one really to bring in, unless Brian Hill, who hasn't done a great deal to justify his fact that he looks like going back on loan again in January. You know, so
you mean Gil Messi?
Gil Messi, yeah. Or do we put an extra body in midfield
as well?
do we put an extra body in midfield and just leave Kulusevski and Kane up front? You know, like I don't know. It's hard to know what to do.
Do you know what? I really feel that we should give Messi a chance because I like the boy. He reminds me of a skinnier version of how Modric used to play when we had him the first season, right? Because Modric, when he first came, he was a bit lightweight, and then he bulked up a bit in his second season, and then he started turning on the charm, right?
Well, hopefully he does.
I'm not saying he's as good as Modric because he's not there. He's not there.
No,
we all know that. But he's got potential, the boy, and he's willing to try and he's willing to impress. You can see when he came on against Frankfurt, that brilliant dribble he did, and he got the penalty. I mean, he lost the ball first of all, and then he won it back, and then he's done that fantastic dribble. He's got it in his locker to be a top-class player. Whether he makes it in the Premiership, that's another question. The physicality of the Premiership, very harsh, very, very harsh on a player.
Do you know what?
I think you're right in terms of Sonny going to the bench. I agree with you on that one.
I'll tell you one player that I'm delighted with during the World Cup, and I think he'll be able to bring his form back to club for the next few matches or the rest of the season, is Ivan Perisic. He had a really good World Cup, and if push came to shove, a front three of Perisic, Kane, and Kulusevski would not be out of the question against Villa.
It wouldn't be.
Because that's where he played up front for Croatia, and he was very effective out on the left there with his crossing.
Yeah, and you know what, Philip? I see that as a work in progress because I think Perisic, right? He's so experienced, right? And he can hold the ball well. He makes really intelligent runs, all right? And with Sonny there as well, there's a confusion sometimes. It's rocked the balance of our team, you know, when you've got Sonny and Perisic. Right, and
they're getting each other's way. They're getting each other's way. Yeah,
they do. And some of the players, they're looking around who to pass to, and they think, should we pass to Perisic? Should we pass to Sonny? Should we pass to Kane? And they're confused as well. So we have to work this one out and play just the 3 men up front, right, and stick to that unless one drops in form. You know, whereas we know Sonny's been out of form, so he should really lose his place. But like you said, Richarlison's injured, but he still should lose his place because I think Messi should come in and show what he can do. You know, there's no harm in that.
Sure. Now, I don't know if Sessegnon is fit to play. I mean, Sessegnon wasn't fit before the World Cup. Hopefully he's had time to... He was on the bench there on Saturday, so maybe he is. Or on Monday.
He's another one. I watch him a lot. Lacks confidence. Big confidence. He hasn't got much to take.
Well, I mean,
checks back, passes it inside.
What we saw happening against Wolves last season when he was taken off after 22 minutes and had to walk the whole way around the stadium to get back to the dugout. That was heart-wrenching for the guy, and I'm surprised he even came back after that. You know.
Yeah, that can dent a boy's confidence, you know. But the fans were fantastic that day, and that was our worst performance of the season.
Oh, it was awful.
Twitch every time I mentioned that Wolves game.
That was the night. That was the night when I was flying home to Dublin. Of all the people that were sitting next to on the plane, a bloody Wolves fan. So you can imagine that wasn't a very pleasant flight. Yeah,
I know. I feel for you, Phil. Next time, move seats.
Oh, well, couldn't. The plane was full.
Oh no.
Anyway, listen, lads, I think we're going to wrap it up there, I think. Again, thanks to Nick Coupland for sponsoring the channel, and there'll be big things happening here over the next couple of weeks, so keep your eyes open. We'll be broadcasting regularly now in the advent of Spurs being back, and so please subscribe and please hit that like button to get the numbers up, and the more we have, the better the content and the better the enjoyment you're going to have out of this. And I'd just like to thank Ellie for taking time out of her last day of Christmas, really, before the banks open and the shops open again tomorrow. And we're going to see you soon. And Dermot, thanks a million for doing everything in the background there, keeping the comments going. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Hope you've enjoyed it. If we haven't covered your comment, I'm very sorry. We tried to get most of them through. And don't forget, the way to get your comments read out every time is Super Chats. And when we're on again, we'll explain how to do that. So in the meantime, enjoy the rest of what's left of Christmas, and come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Come on.